Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be joined here at SEAHIS 24 with Karan Kaul from Absolute Hotel Services. Karan is the Deputy CEO. And first of all, welcome, Karan.
Thank you, Andrew. Very nice to be here. I'm very well, thank you.
And thank you for giving us some of your valuable time during what is a very busy summit.
Pleasure.
Summit. Karan, I'm going to ask first to start with, if I may, tell us a little bit about Absolute Hotel Services and how many properties and so on. Where are you located?
Yeah, happy to. We are in a fairly privileged position at Absolute to have a very wide, let's say, variety of projects and involvement, let's say, in the hospitality industry. So as a collective greater group, we have over 250 hotels in operation and in a pipeline. From Europe, the furthest west, let's say, is Germany, all the way to Indonesia in the east. So in the Asia Pacific portfolio, we've got 20 hotels operating, and we have another 25 in the pipeline. We also operate 5 golf clubs under a white label basis. In Europe, our sister affiliate company, the HR Group, leases and owns over 200 hotels that are branded different brands. So it's quite a balanced view we can bring to discussions with investors and with partners.
Sounds like a great portfolio and a great deal of choice for your investors. Talking of investors, we are here at SEAHIS, which is the Hotel Investor Summit.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to be here at the Hyatt Regency Hotel today?
Always been a big fan of Hoptel's Summit series and their conferences. We're a big supporter of SEAHIS and always have found, I think, greater and greater value each year that we attend. Here, our importance is less on the Thai market where we're headquartered and we have fairly extensive contacts. It's much more for markets that are regional or new for us. Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Cambodia, Nepal, and meeting potential partners and developers and consultants, growing our network in those markets. It's a very important venue to do that.
I saw just before this that you were attending a little mini discussion about the Chinese market.
Yes.
And what happens if it doesn't come back? Have you any thoughts personally on that?
Well, one of the comments I made during that panel, it is of course it's a concern. There are very few destinations in Asia that are 100% reliant. I think probably the one that's most impacted is Hong Kong itself because of the reliance. We've been fortunate because of the location of our hotels in Thailand, in Bangkok, in Pattaya, in Chiang Mai. We get a lot of regional business. So there's a huge growth in Vietnamese business, Indonesian business. There are some markets and some properties very suitable and very popular with the Korean market. So the Korean market is growing for us. And then, of course, India and Russia, because of the visa relaxation policies here in Thailand, have been very strong recovery. So there is a balancing out. We are seeing the Chinese market coming, and it's growing. Definitely not the volume it was, but it's being balanced out by the other markets.
Right. Thank you. Very good answer.
Thank you.
We live in a world that is absolutely connected by geopolitics. Do you see any dangers or any opportunities through that disturbance in the status quo?
I think we're fortunate, and so it was mentioned in the introduction of the conference that the tourism and investment industry is almost very insulated in many ways. Sometimes there's a lag effect, sometimes there's no effect from the geopolitical situation. I think in terms of the broad nature of what we're reading, let's say in the headlines, there's a little bit of a limited impact. The motivation to build and own a hotel for the types of investors we partner with continue to be there. It's a diversification of their businesses. Often it's a private family business in another sector. It's a development of a business unit for the next generation with a steady cash flow. It's many of those are the motivating factors to build hotels. There is one specific market, however, I don't want to single it out, but I should mention it, that the geopolitics in that specific market, the politics in that specific market, have heavily impacted the industry, and that's Vietnam. Unfortunately, we've seen many projects stall there and many new projects slow to sign or to confirm an opening date. And that's really driven by, there is a certain internal drive to maybe tidy up some of the policies of the past, which have delayed many of the future openings and also the financing. So we can see a direct impact there on our industry and everything real estate related. It's pretty frozen in Vietnam. Unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that about Vietnam's challenges. Thailand has a few challenges of its own. I know that the Tourism Authority have just finished their wonderful, very successful TTM 24 in Khao Lak. I understand that many discussions about the German market are going on and will continue to reverberate throughout the industry. Do you have any specific thoughts about where TAT perhaps could be doing more, or do you think it needs fine-tuning in other areas?
It's very easy to criticize, right? That's very easy, sitting back and making comments. Where perhaps we would ask if maybe some resources could be diverted towards is a little bit of an adjustment on maybe the KPIs we're looking at in terms of a destination. Here's a question, I don't know the answer to it, but here's a question. Is it really numbers of visitors that we should be targeting, or should it be revenue per head or total revenue? I feel it should be more the latter. Right. We have a super efficient, I mean, it's not TAT, it's the infrastructure. The airports are fantastic now. You can get in and out, but is it really volume? Should we maybe not be focusing more on the spend? That's all and that's across the board, every market.
Well, it is a great question to ask, and it has always been a balance as to whether it's volume or quality.
Right.
And time will tell. We've had the challenges of a pandemic, and we saw that the volume certainly was suffering. Yeah. And now, as we recover, it really is a question of whether we can get the volume to a level that is controllable and quality.
The demand is always going to be here, Andrew. This is a repeatable destination, not just for the traditional European markets from the 1980s, not just from mainland China. Every market who visits Thailand enjoys it and wants to come back. And come back not once or twice, come back 10 or 15 times. So we know we're going to have that demand. We know people are going to love their first trip and want to come for a second, third, fourth trip. Why don't we price a little bit accordingly? Why don't we maybe start limiting how many new hotels we can develop, for example? I know I'm talking against the type of role I have, but maybe that's something we need to consider in some destinations.
That sounds like a headline. Investor in Thailand.
Perhaps not a headline. Yes, well,
I have
it's
to
an
say
interesting
thank
thought,
you.
right?
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think over tourism was something that was often talked about a few years ago. I know that you're a very busy man, that you have many investors and very many colleagues to liaise with. So I say thank you, Karan, for your time.
Always nice
speaking to you. And I wish you all the very best for today and the next day. I believe we finish tomorrow, is that right?
That's right, tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for your time.